Right, it is day one of doing rimfire practice. So focus of day one is really to work on this trigger pull. So my goal today is 4 different positions. I'm going to just lay down and do 5 minutes of that. Then I'm going to do 5 minutes of standing up, dropping down, and dry firing, doing that. So changing positions, building position each time. Then I'm going to do over a chair, and then I'm going to do maybe try and get standing height. We'll see what we've got to be able to do that. So that's the idea today, to build. First time is just to practice, then from there build positions each time and make sure it can be consistent where the thumb goes, consistent with how I pull with the trigger finger. Let's get into it. Alright, day one down, and I really hope this counts as a workout because I am sweating from that. But in terms of the dry fire, what I really wanted to work on today was where my thumb sat and my trigger pull. Well, it's much more consistent than it was in the match, which is not surprising because it's a very controlled environment. But for a little bit of the live, I had someone else on the camera talking back and forth with me to try and distract me to sort of simulate actually shooting a match. And I noticed a few times my mind wandered to the conversation, and I slipped up, but I was able to recognize it, bring myself back. So day two, I'm going to try and do something to the gun. I'll explain tomorrow and see if I can sort of make that much more consistent. So we're back for day two tomorrow. Alright, day two, and it's pretty late tonight. I've ended up on the phone a lot. So I want to grab my gun out. I want to put the paint on it so I can run my thumb in the same position. So I'm going to do that now and then get straight into it. Should be subtle enough that I can feel the ridge between the paint and the stock. Hopefully that will, what's the word, dry. Hopefully that'll dry in a few minutes.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So this dot perhaps has not been as successful as I was hoping. I can't feel it. So that paint pen idea was worthless. There was another idea. Would you look at that? Found some Velcro. I should have some scissors about here somewhere. So plan two, I'm going to cut off a really small piece of Velcro. Good idea, Paul Janzo. I know you that was your recommendation. A little bit of Velcro's gone in. I want to touch it with the top corner of my thumb. Let's give this a go. Magazine in, snap caps in there, dummy rounds. I'm going to do drop down, shoot 2 rounds on here and then repeat. Got that Velcro to remember. Alright, I think it's in the wrong spot actually. Bring it over a little bit more. Yeah, it's better. Day two down for rimfire. So this little piece of Velcro has been excellent. It's been super interesting to see, sort of fiddling around with it for the first couple of magazines, trying to find what was most comfortable, sort of finger on it or behind it or next to it, and really behind it is where I think I've settled. We'll see how we go tomorrow going back into it. But one of the things I did notice, which I wasn't expecting, is I get behind the gun and I was streaming, and one of the reasons I'm actually streaming these sessions, one, it's the accountability, but two, it's because then there's like a distraction in the room, and matches you always have distractions and trying to focus your mind on it. And what was happening, I would notice, is I might be talking to someone on there and then get behind the gun, and then I'd grab a position like that and I'd be like, that's not my position. Take the time, refocus, think about it, put my finger in the right position, then squeeze the trigger and go. I noticed that multiple times. So fascinating so quickly that little habits developed behind that. We'll see how we go tomorrow with someone else joining us. Catch you then. Alright, day three. Maxwell's joined us for a little bit of dry fire. So anything you're working on particularly, mate?
Trigger press, not just slamming it and letting my finger go, so.
Good stuff. Alright, so we're along with that. I guess we're going to do that and watch each other and see where we go from there. So let's get into it. Right, how do you feel? Self-assessment first.
I need to breathe more. Feels pretty good.
You're pretty conscious of it.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah, really conscious.
One of the things really useful about dry fire, especially with someone else, is having someone else give you a couple of indications of things to tweak and to adjust. What I noticed, Maxwell pointed out that on my first one, my thumb was back behind the Velcro on it, back here somewhere. That is a telltale sign that I perhaps have this Velcro in the wrong spot. So the Velcro being here, I'm moving to it, whereas I sort of sat back here somewhere naturally. I'm not convinced that is exactly where it needs to be, and that's what I thought might show up, is that I come and grab the gun, however I grab the gun, and drop my thumb down on the first one, and it would be in a different position, and that's what happened. So this is not necessarily my final answer. However, what it has caused me to do is every time, again from last night's session, every time like I'm coming up to the same point and really thinking through my shot. So it's providing me like a stop point of consistency, which is really useful. Even just something that little has sort of stopped and improved my major issues. Now it's a refinement about getting that into the right spot. Maxwell's up.
I'm up. I'm ready.
All right, what are we trying this round?
Again, I'm gonna just work on my breathing and my trigger press.
Yep. Cool. Well, I reckon that might do us for tonight. We've got some other stuff to work on, and you learned something.
Yeah, I learned something.
I'm questioning something. Day 4, back dry firing. I'm going to stay prone and I'm going to play with this finger positioning. Now, I've been spending a lot of time on this finger position, but it is so critical to be comfortable behind the gun, be consistent and shoot in a way that is repeatable every time. That's really what I'm trying to get out of this week. That's been one of my biggest problems. So I'm going to do a whole stack of dry fire purely on this and then changing my position drastically. See if I can really mix this up and find something that suits. So you guys are close for the session, so you can keep an eye on what I'm doing. Alright, that didn't feel super comfortable. Felt like my thumb was too far back with that one, so I'm going to make some tweaks. I think I might try and split the difference on that finger position and go from there. So I'm going to move this about halfway, put it back there. Oh, how was that? Ha! What a catch! Alright, on to more important things. So tonight I moved this back and forth a little bit, and I'm really happy where it is now. I spent a bit of time on my breathing, so really trying to crack those fundamentals as best I can and start making them much more natural. So tomorrow Travis will be here. I'm going to get him to analyse what I'm doing right, and most importantly, what I do wrong. All right, we're back, day 5. It is the last one, and Travis is joining me. Travis is like the master of dry fire.
Exactly. Well, I've had a year of practice, mate. Let's be honest.
Travis had a new barrel coming for 18 months. So he's done a lot of dry fire is the point. So he's going to critique what I've learned over this week and tell me all the things I'm doing wrong. And then I'll just make up something to tell him he's doing wrong because he shoots pretty darn well. And the plan is all sorts of heights tonight.
Yeah, well, I think we go with something in between comfortable. There's always those nice spots between kneeling and sort of standing height, but what about in between where you just don't know what you want to do?
That's most of my life on a daily basis. Yeah. Go.
Go.
Beat.
Oh, miss, win. Sorry,
you're practicing.
We're practicing excuses.
Dry fire, you're hectic.
I just realised my feet are wrong now too, Rusty.
Yep.
Those targets are way too small.
I've got this little device here. really high tech with my Velcro.
That's high-tech Velcro. I've seen that
That's
before.
super
yeah.
high tech, made by Elon Musk. And last night I moved it from where I'd had it the other nights. Usually I miss it on my first shot. Tonight it's been very consistent every time. So your turn to go another position.
Another
height.
position. Another height. Wow, this position sucks.
Yeah. If you're approaching the stage, so we've got this this device that we're shooting off.
Yep.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. If you were able to shoot this in any order, what would you do?
It's a very, very good question.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, good. Well done. We can finish here.
All right.
Yeah, so as you were saying, what order would you shoot that in? Actually,
Yeah.
I would tend to have gone the lower position first, thinking that it's the most stable, but it's actually the worst.
Yeah.
So now that I've practiced it, I would start top to bottom.
You'd start to
Because
which is
top,
super
top
rare.
you've got a really comfortable position.
Yep.
Semi-uncomfortable, but not as bad
This
as
is
next.
really doable.
That,
to be
yeah,
fair.
exactly.
You're
Yeah,
just
and then your
bending
sitting
down.
position.
Yep.
So you got 3 fairly comfortable ones, but that was not that great.
Save the
down
best for
low.
last.
What order would you shoot it in, Rusty?
I'd just go home.
Just go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could choose, I'd go high and work my way down and finish on here. And one main reason there is that last position is a little sore on the back, which I'm always ultra careful on. I would do those, and then I may, depending on what the deal is, I may even bail on that and just camp.
I think the other thing is it buys you time because you can get into those top positions faster, whereas climbing down into that bottom position is going to take you a lot of time to build a
And then
comfortable position.
You've got to get it out of it. On the
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, good thinking. This has been 5 nights of training. I did a lot on trigger pull, finger positions, consistency with that. I really probably spent 3 nights on that. And I think I'm better. Not fixed, but much better with the attention given to it. So tonight was really good to really throw a spanner in the works, think about actually all this positional gear with you and the heckling. I wasn't perfect by any stretch, but I was much closer, maybe 90%, 95% of the time I was where I needed to be.
Your hand was certainly in the right position. I did notice you feeling for that bit of tape or the Velcro, so I did notice you feeling for that. It was just the lower position that one time where you couldn't actually get your hand around into the right position. But when you did it the last time, because you were more aware of where you were going, it was certainly a lot more natural. Your hand went straight to that position. So
I think I've identified a bunch of little things I will continue to work on. So encourage you guys, if this is useful to you, important to you, maybe dedicate a week. Maybe get a couple mates around or something. I've learned a stack this week. Probably I've done more for my shooting ability this week than probably the last 12 months. Yep. We'll see how the next match goes.
Like I said, dry firing with somebody else is a really good way to go.
Yeah.
Doing it on your own and filming yourself is good nonetheless, but having somebody else there to practice with certainly helps. With my dry fire, the way I sort of went about it was I'd practice sort of one thing. So you mentioned you were practicing your trigger pull.
Oh.
I actually set my camera up so that it was focusing exactly on where my trigger was, not the whole of me.
Yep.
So just so I could zoom in on that and get a better picture on that on my trigger follow through and everything. So
okay.
that was one thing. And
smart.
then another night I'll spend just getting into one position. So I'll set my timer on sort of 9 to 11 seconds or something like that. And it might just be this position. So it'd be up, into position, get a good shot off, and just doing that for 10, 15 minutes. And that keeps it interesting for me as well. Because otherwise if you do the same thing day in, day out, it gets pretty monotonous.
Thanks for hanging around for the week, and we'll see you in the next video. Should we go the Pro Max version?
Try the Pro Max. So what you want to do is you want to put your bipod on there and then just use a pump pillow to hold it from the back. I reckon it's going to be the most stable position.
Double bag this.
If you run a 30-inch barrel, it won't look that ridiculous.
You reckon?